A lot of people think that if you want to actively manage your own portfolio, that you need to become a full-time trader and that you need to watch the charts all day long. But this is simply not true. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to manage part of your own portfolio in a much calmer and more realistic way using a low stress trading approach that you can actually fit around your lifestyle and your schedule. So in this video, we're going to cover why active portfolio management does not mean full-time trading, how to choose a trading style that actually fits your schedule, what skills you're going to need to learn in order to do this, and how a rule-based strategy makes this more realistic and why you just need a realistic process to make this work. So let's jump right into it and firstly talk about, not having this idea that active trading has to be full-time. So I think a lot of people assume that if you need to or want to actively manage your portfolio, that you need to trade often and you need to watch the charts on a daily basis. So when I first started getting into trading, I gravitated towards day trading. I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people in our community have done that as well. But then we've quickly realized that, I can't trade in and out daily. I've got family, I've got commitments. I can't watch the market every time it opens and so on. And it's just not going to fit with my schedule, nor do I want to sit around and watch charts all day long. So the good news is that you don't have to do that. There are ways to trade and manage positions that are much more flexible and much less stressful as well. So what we need to do is we need to choose a time frame to trade and manage an account that fits our schedule, our commitments, and our lifestyle. So we want to decide, realistically, how often can you maybe review the charts? If you can review daily, that's great. But if you can only review things maybe once a week, that's totally fine as well. You can still actively manage your portfolio on a weekly basis. If you want to trade more, that's fine. You can use the lower timeframes, but you do not have to. So the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, that I made when I first started, is choosing a style that doesn't fit our real life schedules and commitments. We fall behind, we get stressed, and then we start making, emotional decisions around some trades, and we start to overtrade, and it just doesn't work. So it's much better to build and focus on a strategy around the time that you actually have. So if you're thinking that you don't want to day trade, you want to actively manage your portfolio and maybe check in on a weekly basis, then below this video, you can find the first link in the description. You can come join our Stock Trading for Beginners group. And in this free group, you can actually come to the classroom section where you can learn the full strategy that we talk about here on this channel. And you can learn the tools that you need, the strategy, how it works, and so on. And it's much more aligned with those that want to actively manage a portfolio, but maybe do it on a more weekly basis. So you can come and find more details in that link below. So once you choose a time frame, you're going to need to learn some basic chart skills. So we want to be able to look at a price chart, understand what's going on, learn things like market structure, learn how to identify what's called support and resistance, and then use some basic tools to help strengthen our decisions when it comes to managing, buying, and selling stock. So a lot of people tend to think that you need to master a whole bunch of indicators. I found that after learning a lot of things, there are many things that I read about, and I simply don't use. Keeping it simple is really the best approach, in my opinion, especially for those that don't want to do this full-time trading. So once you can read the price chart, you can understand some things about market structure, identify support and resistance, you can really start to manage your positions in a very low stress approach. So if we were to just go and look at some basics of market structure here, you can see here on the diagram, we have a very simple market structure diagram where we're making a high in this area, we're making a low, then we make a higher high, so that's HH, then we make a higher low. And this is the basics of an uptrend with market structure. And then we can apply that to a real chart here. So this chart, we're looking at a weekly chart. So all of these red and green candles represent 1 week. And if you're actively managing a portfolio and you understand some market structure, support and resistance, then you know that you don't want to buy here in what's called a resistance zone in this higher high area. You'd rather enter at a support zone in a higher low environment. Then we come back up, we've got a higher high in this area. Obviously, you wouldn't want to buy any stocks here. We want to look for a higher low with some support in this area. So this is the basics of market structure, support and resistance, and then you can layer in some technical tools to help you identify when resistance is approaching and when support is approaching. And those are the areas that you want to buy support and be cautious or sell resistance. So it's very basic and simple to focus on support and resistance. And those are some of the skills that eventually you're going to need to learn if you want to actively manage and look at the price charts. So once you've done that, again, you want to make sure that whatever strategy you do end up following, that it has some sort of rule-based approach. So you want to build a process around rules, support and resistance, not buying resistance, only buying where the probability that other buyers come in, that's support. And once you have a rule-based system in place, you're going to be less emotional when it comes to managing your positions and your portfolio. Emotions are really the death of traders and investors. We want to be objective about the charts and having rules that you can follow. Some simple questions like, is the structure bullish? Is price near support? Is there confluence? If you can't answer yes to these questions, then it's a trade that you simply don't put on, and so on. So having rules really reduces stress. And no matter what strategy you end up pursuing, when you manage your own money, you really want to follow rules and not let emotions come into play. So you can build a process that actually you can maintain long-term, where you have a process of rules, you have a watch list of stocks that you follow, and then you can review them on a schedule that works for you. So personally, I have a watch list that we review in our group, and we review the indexes. So the SPY, the QQQ, the IWM, we review the Mag 7. So stocks like Tesla, Google, Nvidia, and then a bunch of different sectors. And every week we review the charts and we can see when prices are at a zone that could be resistance. We want to be cautious, maybe take profits. And when they enter a zone that looks to be good support, that is when we can potentially put on trades. And we review these on a weekly basis. It's very low stress and it's very easy to make work with those of us that have busy schedules. So just to recap here, if you want to manage your own portfolio, again, you don't need to be a full-time trader to do this. What you do need is you need a trading style that's going to fit your life and your schedule. You want to focus on a time frame that matches the time available that you have to review things. So you can trade the weekly charts if you can review things on a weekly basis. If you want to be more active and day trade and trade more actively, then you can review charts that look at stock price on a daily basis, an hourly basis, and so on. You're going to need to just learn some of the basics of chart reading. So reading a price chart, understanding market structure, understanding trends, support and resistance, and those things. And then over time, you can layer in some more technical tools to help you find good entries, that support, to help you find good exits, that is resistance. And this is how you can be active in the market without making it a full-time job. So if you want to learn more, again, about the strategy that I focus on, that we focus on in this channel, below the video, you can come and find the first link in the description. You can join our stock trading for beginners group. Here, people post charts, get feedback. In the classroom section, again, there's a full strategy course that talks all about the strategy we focus on and all the tools that you're going to need to learn in order to use it to actively manage part of your portfolio. So I hope that you found this video useful, and I look forward to talking with you in our group.